Hello and welcome back to the channel. So this video is part of the how to make homemade bow shurikens or throwing spikes. And in line with the channel's history, I'm going to be over explaining everything because these videos are made for the beginners, either beginners in throwing implements or beginners of making things. Okay, so most of everything I would say here is kind of common sense or common knowledge among those people who are the home DIY enthusiasts. For those who just new to making projects, some of these might help. Okay, now, so this is the second video of tool list and what did I find, what did I learn during grinding my homemade spikes. Sorry, I'm having the hiccups in the meantime. Right, now, first thing first. If you don't know how to use shop equipment, this is not the channel to learn from. Okay, get professional tuition and make sure you are following your countries or states health and safety rules and regulations, and you have the appropriate insurance and following all the bylaws and everything else. Okay, that is on you. Now that out of the way, one of the most important part of making your own bow shurikens, if you're new to grinding, is accepting the fact that your shapes or finished products will not be perfect. Now, and you will get better over time. Your eye to hand coordination will get better over time. Therefore, your finished products will improve. But at the beginning, unless you have experience, it won't be perfect. Okay. Now, second, it is important to have some kind of container. I prefer metal containers over plastic containers, but I do have plastic containers with water in them. That's before probably from the great floods. Metal container slightly better. Put some water in it, use it as a cooling bath. Okay. Now, grind slowly. Okay, so basically what you do is do a couple of passes, a few passes, and then you cool it. Usually I try to work on 3 or 4 implements at the same time, and by the time I do those in rotation, they're not all of them nice and cold. Okay, also the closer you get to the tip, the least metal is in here. Okay, so therefore it will get warmer or hotter faster. Okay, I don't like to let the workpiece to the temperature of when it's too hot to touch. Okay, so if I touch it and that's getting warm, like I can't hold it, into the water it goes. Okay, now you don't have to submerge the whole lot, obviously, just up to that piece. Okay, now if you made a mistake, left it on the grinding wheel for too long and it starts to turn blue, it's not the end of the world. Air cool it until it's touch warm, then into the bath, and then just slowly clean up the area that turned blue. If the whole tip went blue, like I'm talking about the whole everything, the whole lot, right up to here, for example, it all went blue because you were a little bit more enthusiastic than you should have been. Okay, then you got 2 choices to make. Well, first of all, air cool it. Do not dip it into the water straight away. Air cool it, and when it's touch warm, into the water. Now the choice you have to make, because if everything turned to blue, your original heat treatment probably has been ruined, okay? Or most likely it's been ruined. So you can either clean it up and hope for the best, that it will be soft and it will need some constant maintenance, or you can cut it off and start again. I would do the second, but then again, it's your project. You can learn from it, okay? Go slowly. Now, other important part is, do not cut your workpiece to the desired finish length before you start grinding, okay? Now, what I mean by this, these screwdrivers are 10 millimeter by 200 millimeter. Okay, the 200 millimeter is from the tip to the bottom of the handle. Don't cut it here and expect to make a 200 millimeter throwing spike out of this, okay? When you start grinding tips, or sorry, I should say, when I started grinding tips, I would lost about somewhere between 3 to 5 millimeter of the length, okay? Because I would make a mistake, try to correct it, the shape went out of, I don't know, whatever, out of symmetric. So I had to keep on correcting, and by the time I realized, I lost some material. And that is fine, that is expected, okay? Especially if you're trying to grind a cone at the end, okay? Now, as you can tell, I prefer to use flathead screwdrivers and then turn them into throwing spikes, because I really like the shape, the arrowhead shape, okay? That's just personal preference. Turning a Phillips screwdriver into like a cone grind, also nice. I have experimented with flat grinds of turning this into a 4, and you can actually see the end. Just have to turn it a little bit. You can see the flat here, because it's originally I tried to do a 4 flat grind. It did not work out, okay? So I recommend, as a new grinder, go either cylindrical like that or arrowhead. If you try to make like a four-faced flat grind, make up a jig, because otherwise it will not turn out nice. Just from personal experience, okay? Now, the other reason you don't cut your workpiece to the desired final length is the end, okay? Now, when you cut, so you made the grind and it turned out sweet, then you measure out, add a few millimeters, about 3 or 4 millimeters. Not sure how much is that inches. I know that 6 inches is about, 6 millimeters is about 1/6 of an inch. So less than that, about half of that. So that's 1/12. 1/12, yeah. 1/12 is about 3 millimeter. About 3 millimeter, because as you put it in a vise or have it somewhere to cut, right? Sometimes you will do exactly this. You will set up your work item on an angle, see, like that. Now, if you start to cut square, this will be on an angle. So your workpiece, suddenly the end of it is gonna have a not square cut, which is really easy to fix, because you just get to the grinding wheel and turn. You know, don't just push it in, just keep on turning it. But you will lose again length from your workpiece, okay? Now, next thing, grinding bow shurikens. if you can, grind the ends semi-circle or sphere. That's another word I can't really pronounce it. Okay. Now, most of my new ones are almost sphere, half a circle. This one still has a little bit of flat in the middle. I'm experimenting with this. This is not my idea. I was told about this by a person who are amazing bow shuriken thrower, because if it's round, the next one that comes in and try to Robin Hoods it will slide off it. Okay, so that is actually a quite good thing. The reason not all of mine are cut into half circle, time constraint. Okay, now next thing, screwdrivers will have this punched out bits to have a better handle, hold on the handle. Okay, now if you grind them off, where is oh, there it is, they will look like this. So hold on, I'll take this out. So it will look like that. Now if you're fussy and you want your bow shuriken nice and shiny, or sorry, smooth is the right word, then you have to cut just under. If you don't mind a little bit of texture, then you can actually just leave those grind pieces, and they actually, for me, they help with the release. Okay, in the next video I will show you guys how to make homemade knurlings. Now the vivid, probably left the first thing for last. Now I use a fat, I used to, not anymore, a fat tip, come on, fat tip vivid or permanent marker to paint the screwdriver tip, and then using a scriber and a flat edge, where is my scriber, basically connecting, doing the lines, and it's a really nice fine line then. Okay, and then you can follow the line. I used to do that, and then by now I graduated into, I just make a dot right in the middle, and I use my IO meter to try to make it symmetrical as possible. Now, talking about symmetrics, you have your piece, you're standing on one side, you do some grinding this way, you do some grinding this way. If you want to keep both sides symmetric, then you have to turn and go to the other side, and now going from this way, from left to right, few passes, cool it, and then you go back again, right to left. Because even that there is not a, it just won't focus that, come on, focus, even if the blade of the screwdriver is not wide enough, it is still wide enough to go offline. There we go. So one side, because of the grinding wheel is round, you will be slightly off. You're never gonna be perfectly square unless you know what you're doing. Then you're not listening to this, you shouldn't be listening to this video anyway. And if you look at this is one of my early grinds. If it was focus here, see the difference between the two, and if I turn it around, it's perfect, because I didn't know that back then. I only learned this later on. Okay, now comes the homemade, I'm sorry it's getting a bit longer, but it's coming, the homemade or poor man's lathe. All you need to do is slow turn, stabilize it with your, so one hand holding there, the other hand will stabilize it by the tip, and slowly turn that way while it's turning. Okay, now the wheel is coming down this way, if you go against the wheel, which is not this way, so it's the opposite way. If you're going opposite the wheel, you're taking off more material. If you're going with the wheel, you're taking off less material, okay? And if you go slow enough, this is a bit too slow, but if you go slow enough, this will be relatively cone-shaped, okay? It will not be perfect. If you want perfect, then you need to, where is something? Then you need to hand rotate it. That will be, but that is faster. Now, again, taking a cone or making one of those cones, that would take you at least half an hour. One of these arrowheads, about 10 minutes. Okay, so that's the expected time frame. Well, this is about it. I don't know what else I can say. If you have any questions, put it in the comment. And sorry, yes, it is way too detailed. It is way too almost annoying, but otherwise I don't know how to pass all the information to somebody who is new at making things. Okay, anyway, thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you, bye.